truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system. Here's the truth about the system that the truth about the system that'll fuck up your the truth about the mind that'll fuck up your mind that'll fuck up your the truth about that'll fuck up your the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll
warning, 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 warning.
Truth about the that'll fuck up your the truth about the that'll fuck up your truth about the that'll fuck up your truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind.
Warning, 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 warning.
Truth about the system that'll
people who want to rule the world. Hitler's second book was The World Order, the New World Order. The Council on Foreign Relations crowd are trying to establish today what Hitler established yesterday. But Hitler's been demonized. 85% of the people want a national ID card. They want what Hitler delivered.
We're living in the last days, what will be the prophecy? The seven-headed beast, place the hexagram upon the streets. Illuminati kamikaze, who are the real Nazis? Beware of the modern day Hitler. Your Masonic seals on your dollar bills suddenly transform into swastikas. 24 elders appear from the four corners as I recite verses from the scriptures. Angels ascend, the sky blackens, the sun turns into blood. Behold a pale horse rider from a distance. I see the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The entrance to the pyramids, where the secrets of the lost ages are buried, wrapped up like mummies, uncovered like archaeology. This is the new discovery of the LCOB. Secret society, trying to keep the
Illuminati propaganda, enslaved through legal tender, holocaustic brain, Washington, superstate epicenter. There's nowhere to hide the great eyes on me. Entertainment industry, spiritual Zyklon B. Collectively collude to leave the free man slain, shepherding sheep into the concentration campaign. Run for your life to escape the Gestapo police. These are the real terrorists, and the fear won't cease. Capitus diminutia, engage in politics. Seers of Bavaria, worshipping the idol six. Totalitarian rule through conquest or consent. Total Aryan school, requested all the bombs sent. Yeah, you heard right, this is the new Third Reich. Double-headed eagle in flight, swoops like a thief in the night. As the prison walls harden, the parallel goals of Halliburton and IG Farben become apparent. Underneath the parent Union Banking Corporation of NYC heads up the distribution of our FID. Chips to make you slip into submission, become civilian citizens of neo-fascist jurisdiction.
Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body.
Children of lost souls, crossroads, towards flows. In the valley of death, don't step where the corpse grows. Ain't nothing magic like Angel and Copperfield. Novus, Ordo Seclorum on a Masonic seal. Illuminati hobby ill, follow what they fathers build. Eye of illumination stamped upon a dollar bill. Secret symbology, the circle in the prophecy. Skull and bones, scroll, lock and key, that's the policy. Raping the nation, the philosophy is Satan. The hypocrisy we facing like we got to be forsaken. Lost without a savior, burning the corpse upon a cross with our neighbor and toast the forgotten flavor. What? Neo-Nazi, fascism, the classism, collapse system that felt the venom when man bit him. When that's given, then nothing can ever come of this. The smoke and mirrors of shadow worlds that don't exist.
Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. Secret society want my mind, soul, and my body, but I'ma stay incognito. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep the eye on me.
Portion of this
to the detriment of many a derelict, we come to inject a bit of intellectual info set to a beat to offset the imminent complaints of the ignorant. Those content within the confines of a weak mind designed to neglect the text sent to tape within a virtual space and time with the pace that the tempo dictates. Blind and dumb, but they can't anticipate an 808 before a speaker vibrates. So I wait for some insignificant rhetoric from an idiot to get into it. In an instant, their brains been fed with all the bullshit that's just been said by the fool who accompanied the melody, telling me about his car, bitches, and his jewelry. And a usual cruelty committed in a fictional universe, governed by laws in a verse memorized by a million willing civilians waiting with open wallet and purse, making temporary financial security an oxymoronic reality for the industry's most recent casualty. Rap about loot would have yet to recoup. Then is the son of the man in the suit, emotionally scarred from the cul-de-sac, but the boulevard influences current delinquents, and dumb raps joined by a dope sequence. And the shit was mistakenly taken as literal, much like the Bible. Now it's inspired a need for survival amongst all suburbia gang rivals. It all stems from the initial recital. Use caution with words cause meaning is vital, but with a dope beat you can bypass everything that you learned in morality class. That feeling of guilt, it'll gradually pass with every residual check that you cash.
TFK all day is all bad. T for trust, F for fun, K for kid. Ask your dad. Number 1% was to come and represent with a lower contingent. Inventing stories of glory just to bore me. 80 minutes later on SACD, that's informing me of nothing. Wait a minute, let us visit when performing. You're reminding me of something we don't even want to see. Stockpiling all of this equipment will get you down nowhere. Buy more breakdown sample clearance. Calling me at my job to get info will get you nowhere. With your wardrobe, crying about fortune like misfortune gets you a tour van. And label support, sleeping on a staircase, writing raps on a rooftop, living in a room that's 10 by 8. You wouldn't do that just to save face. That's from you not being real in the first place. Scum like you disappear without a trace. Make beats just like him, write like them, and it's a shame that you limit yourself to that. And it's even worse that you wholesale into us, writing all these false tales. I'm going to take you out. No hatred on those that flip chips and come from a studious upbringing. Hit the streets and end up banging. A vicious typical problem that you perpetuate when you can't find a task to alleviate this altered state. Gravity will wait, they don't know, I won't go away. See, you can't make but baited rep asphyxiated, so it's real versus fake. Rhyme book fake, wardrobe fake, stage show fake, outward gear fake, message fake, your crew fake, your group fake, your whole catalog fake. Watch that jaw break, blade like a saw blade. You're no more real than me since we both live in 3D. I can cry on command, do you know they taught that in the acting school? Your heart will rise at a rapid rate and implode, and you to be continued. No set date, you just wait, you just wait.
Yeah, welcome to the Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And there's no production team here. There's nobody pushing the buttons. There's no organization or team here. Obviously, listen to everyone, believe in nothing until you could prove it for yourself. And obviously, there is the reality of the auto hoax that's taught to us through the machine, the fabricated instantiations, okay, of the communicative processes, right, that are totally controlled and mediated through the use of symbols, the symbolic mainframe, right? And of course, Fabianism, Zionism, Nazism, Islamism. Like, it's funny, the guy, Tragedy Gaddafi, that's one of my favorite rappers, and he calls himself Arab Nazi, which is funny. Arab Nazi Mahdi, right? So he's saying he's the leader of the Islamic Caliphate, right? Funny stuff. But yeah, we're going to play some Tragedy Gaddafi later. We got some music. But yeah, the symbolic reference frame, it's all in how you employ symbols, right? And symbols obviously mediate reality, right? Everything in the world, the entire universe is a symbol, right, for something pointing outside the universe. I've come to believe, right? Because reality is stranger than fiction. So it's obvious that what's going on around you is crazier than anything that anybody can make up, right? So much that I believe that the possible is the actual, right? I believe there's a one-to-one relationship between imagination and experience, right? And if you could see, how the symbolic world is used to interpret our experience, right? It's funny that we don't know where our symbolic reference frame begins and our world of experience actually starts, right? If we actually probe the issue, right, it doesn't become too apparent, right? All that we can really become apparent of is that symbols mediate reality, and you could think of very simple forms of technique that transmit symbols, like writing. I was talking about with OTW yesterday, right? That language and writing are primary to our experience of the world, right? Okay, but we can't believe with Wittgenstein, right, that the limits of our language are the limits of our world, right? Simply because there's things way beyond words, right? Way beyond words, right? But we're here to talk about symbolic techniques, and of course, the most highest form of symbolic technique, right, that is available to us is the method of transmitting symbols, right, through visual representation. This is what we're engaged in right now, right? Okay, we're engaged in um supposedly spontaneous, as my thoughts are supposedly spontaneous. I mean, right? And I do believe there's going to be humans in the future that cannot be, whose actions cannot be predicted by algorithm, but there'll be very few. I mean, very few left. I mean, indeed. Right? Right. So I wrote up a little statement about the show, and I think I'll write it on the community post and share with everybody, so that we could give a little mission statement, right, in terms of the show, but mainly on the show, right? We've been unveiling certain levels of the architectonic, right? And what do I mean by the architectonic, right? Um, you know, um, yeah, blessings. Yeah, Dr. E, blessings. I mean, peace be with you, sir. I mean, yeah, peace be with you on this journey, dude. I mean, definitely. Uh, and yeah, man. You know, yeah, Bass Ackwards. Haven't seen you in a minute. Blessings, homie. Not know. Thank you for being here. Well, there's Mike's opinion on the matter about Arabs and Nazis. I'm not an Arab, by the way, but I do have Arab friends. I'm sure they'd be wouldn't be too happy with that statement. I mean, but yeah, behind the scenes blessings, Joe Mills. I mean, yeah, Dr. E's appreciating the music. I appreciate you, my friend. I mean, Panelverse presents Big Homie. And of course, we got Brown's Boy. I'm trying to promote this show as much as possible. Made by Machine Bob, simply because we'll have a part 2 of this show. Okay, we'll have a part 2 of this show, right? Although I'm not too sure what I'm going to cover there, right? I'll figure it out, right? Okay, I'll figure it out. Okay, I think it was like the rest of the debate, something about Jews and Zionism. It was a debate on Zionism, right? So that's what we're going to be getting into. Have I heard of Curtis Yarvin? Indeed, I have. We've covered his views before. We've had supporters and detractors from his views on the show, definitely. Okay, we've had people who support accelerationism, people who are against accelerationism, people who follow more and less in line with neo-reactionary. I myself am sort of against Yarwin's views on many different levels, right? Okay, and I've shared my views on that on the show, definitely. I mean, so that's my opinion on it, right? Although I do think it's important to look at his ideas because of how popular they've become and because of the acceleration of support. See, we were talking the other day. See, my friend Pill Eater, he likes to talk about Mark Fisher and Nick Land and Yarvin. Some of these guys. So we'll be covering some of these guys: Fisher, Land, Yarvin. But first, I think we need to look at the postmodern philosophers themselves, maybe Deleuze and Guattari, and look at some of the works of the Frankfurt School and all of that type of stuff. So, we'll get into that stuff in due time, right? We're still sort of laying down the foundations, philosophical foundations here, right? And we're doing sort of introductory series on many concepts in theology, um, you know, um, um, the ideas of philosophy, although we're not billed as philosophers, right, or journalists, right? I consider both of those to be lame titles, right? If I'm to be considered anything, it'd just be a plain Jane, just scholar or whatever. I mean, so not in any vein, you know, to support philosophy or anything like that, right? Just researchers, scholars, something like that. I mean, so something very modest like that, would be appropriate, right? But yeah, philosophy is not really what we do, although we've studied philosophy at an academic level, right? So we understand the arguments of the philosophers, right? We understand a lot of the arguments of the theologians, right? So we've presented a lot of their arguments in due time, right? We've given introductory series, right, to some of those ideas, right? So, so that's kind of the main idea. But in the series we're doing right now, we're sort of looking at the architectonic in relation to Eastern philosophy. Right now, Eastern philosophy could be a very strange title, just as Western philosophy is a strange title, right? Okay, because there's lots of Islamic philosophers and there's lots of Western philosophers, right? Like a lot of Western philosophers, right, in the 1800s were influenced by Eastern philosophy, right? And like Hegel makes a lot of like weird ideas that he draws from like Kabbalah and Hermeticism, right? So at the time, there's people that are into all sorts of mixed ideas, right? So it's hard to say what's exactly Western. Obviously, the Western and Eastern dichotomy is false dichotomy, right? But yeah, we're here doing a 12-hour fast. Okay. Actually 13-hour fast now, right? Since the was it daylight savings or whatever, right? So yeah. And we're presenting to you some information on Eastern philosophy, right? And also we have some information in relation to the tricknology and the science, right? The tricknology and the science is being used to enslave you, yet you support the tricknology and the science, right? And we can't have people have palpable and critical engagement with the issues of opposition to the technology and the science, right? Because they're Sabbatean, accelerationist, half-wit stooges.
Everyone's just in their room, in their space, and your space is going to be this little fucking tiny little fucking square on a screen. That's going to be your space in the hyper capitalist fucking AI world. That's going to be your life. And as much as I want to be anti-capitalist, the only way to be truly anti-capitalist is to be hyper-capitalist. Is to let them, give them carte blanche and let it fucking die faster.
So see, there is a whole culture of Sabbateanism, nihilism, right? People who want to support what they hate, right? There's all sorts of perverse individuals on the rise. It's true. It's a fact, right? So, and obviously there's psychological tropes, right, that are fashioned by this sort of technological age, right? There is a voyeuristic impulse, right, of people who are mediated, whose life is mediated through the use of screens, right? And we're creating with our eyes, right? This is the meaning of living in an age that's mediated through screens instead of analytical information, right? That comes from, books and presentations and lecture halls, right? Okay, there's techniques that mediate our reality, and obviously the iconicity of our age and the technicity of our age, right, is focused on the mediation through the use of screens. Right now, I've talked about that, right? Right. Okay, I've talked about the isolation, right, that we have through the use of screens, right? But also, right, obviously, who are you in a chat room, right? You could be anybody in a chat room, right? And the anonymity is the sense of freedom, right? You could do whatever you want if nobody knows who you are, right? In terms of just saying things, right? We're not saying actually doing whatever you want, right? Right? But that's what's funny, is that people think that anonymity is freedom, right? When it's a form of depersonalization through the system, right? Okay. And obviously, there's people that are relying on mediation of power through the system, surrogate activities, right? And artificial needs. Okay. And people are externalized by means, right? And there's a foggy somatic detachment that's felt by most people, right? Especially in the cities, right? Now the city is the hub of both technological innovation, right? And international trade, right? Now, obviously, the whole autocratic state, the project of the autocratic state was to create the enterprise in the city, right? Okay, this was the idea of Hobbes of the Commonwealth, that the state should serve as the artificial man, the machine that speaks for man, right? Okay, so the state was created as a sort of golem to channel the universal rights Okay, and the state had a monopoly on the violence, right? Okay, so this is the foundation of the equality-driven ethos, right? Is the idea of the commonwealth. Okay, and the notion of private enterprise, right? The whole goal was to bring back the city-state, Athens, right? Okay, so politricks paved the way for tricknology, right? The autocratic state was a precursor to the technological state, right? The autocratic state had to become the body without a soul, right? The artificial man, right? In order for it to be hollowed out and then the machine put in charge of the state, right? Okay. So this is quite obvious, right? So international trade creates the city creates technological innovation that connects all the cities to create a world system. Okay. It's obvious what's happened. Okay. Anybody who doesn't acknowledge the issue of power in our age is asleep. The objective factors of power in our age, right? Okay. So what happens, right? Is that man is mediated first through nature, right? Okay, obviously nature is an intelligent system, right? Nature created, okay, many factors, right? It creates many intelligent networks and systems, right? Okay. But man had a symbiotic relationship with nature, right? Now, obviously, the transhumanist has a symbiosis, right? Wants a symbiosis with machine, and they don't think the machine is non-human intelligence, right? Because they think that human intelligence is already mechanical, A, right? And B, right? They think that the machine was created by humans, right? Okay. But it's obvious, right, that once human beings create an interconnected system, right, in which innovation is not controlled, right, but individual actors within that system, right, but it's controlled by cross pollination, a collective incubation, okay, and a cross cultural genealogy of technique, right, then it falls outside of the range of the control of nation states, all right. This is exactly what's happened, right? All right. So, in other words, we're living in a technological age. So, we're explaining the architectonic, right? Okay. Now, there's many different symbols within the architectonic, right? But the four main symbols, right? Okay, within the architectonic, right? Are our relationship to God, our relationship to nature, our relationship to man, and our relationship to technology, right? Okay, many of these factors control many of the other factors, right? They delineate from this range of control, right? Okay, let me show you guys something that somebody showed me earlier named Wilderness Front. Okay, I'm liking a lot of his pages and his critiques. You mean? Yeah, Wilderness Front. Interesting guy. You know? But yeah, he created a post. Uh-oh, they want me to get verified on Tweety. On Tweety. Doesn't that cost money? Maybe if you get above a certain number of followers, they'll just allow you to get verified automatically, right? But yeah, here's the post I wanted you guys to see. All these people that are so-called radicals, right? Conformity in our age is nothing more than conformity to the technological system, right? Okay. Okay, let me look at this. It says the techno-industrial system, and we don't support revolutionary maxims. This is just a thought experiment, right? We're just showing you guys interesting posts, right? Techno-industrial system is the actual enemy. Governments, okay, the techno-industrial system leads to governments, corporations, organizations, communities, and it eventually gets to the individual, right? And he says technology above all else is responsible for the current condition of the world and will control its future development. Thus, the bulldozer that we have to destroy is modern technology itself. Just a thought experiment, right? Okay, but it's interesting, right? The objective factor of power in our age. Now, there's different ways of looking at it. Not everybody had the solutions, the radical solutions, right? That Dr. Kaczynski offered in his manifesto. And of course, we don't support his violent actions. Highly deplorable, right? But the fact is, obviously, I take spiders out of the house so I don't have to kill them, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? I'm very much against violence, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, but yeah, the thing is, you know, even though we are part of a violent society, I mean, there's nothing wrong with admitting to the reality of violence, right? But yeah, the fact is that you know, there's a whole idea, right, in terms of how we react to the system. Now, there's obviously the radical solution of getting rid of the system and letting the chips fall where they may, right? Type of thing that's shown in movies like Fight Club, right? Okay, or there's another type of idea, right? Which is that, you know, we actually slowly roll back technology, right? Now, this would be an international plan, right? Okay, and this would be an ethical cessation of the use of certain types of technology, right? Now, that is a solution proposed by our teacher, Dr. Skrbina, right? Now, many people think that this solution is not possible. Like, for example, Dr. Kaczynski says it's not possible, right? Alul said that we're going to have to form parallel institutions, okay, that can teach people to both live in the system and not be affected by it, right? And also plan for alternative societies, right? So that if the system fails, right, and obviously supporting the system is putting all your eggs and chips in one basket. So we have this problem, right? Okay. Now, reliance on nature, right, and simple subsistence on nature allows us to maximize our freedom, right? Okay. Which is obvious, right? The notion of progress and freedom has been a huge sham, right? Huge scam, right? Technology has not improved freedom, right? Okay, this is one of the huge delusions of the modern age, right? It's part of the myth of progress, pseudo eschatology of progress, right? That science can keep on improving human society, right? But, you know, we've seen some of the goals of the scientists, right? Very misanthropic, right? They don't care if humanity dies in the process, right? Okay, of their search for technological singularity, right? And they're fine with humanity being combined with machines, right? So, so we have this huge problem, right? Now, the Tao offers us some solutions, right? We're looking into the Tao Te Ching, right? And the idea of natural simplicity, right? Now, obviously, nature is a system that doesn't use mediation, right? Okay, it doesn't complexify mediation, right? Or it doesn't complexify means, okay? Towards a certain end, right? Okay, the enframing of means or the complexification of means towards a particular end, that is a technological process, right? Okay. Now, technology can be techniques, right? Okay, which are methodologies, right? Imparted, right? And you could create a technique for a system of thought, right? Okay, you could create a technique, right? For how to make something, right? Okay, how to obtain certain resources, right? You can maximize techniques. Certain techniques are human, right? There's social techniques, right? There's social conditioning, right? Okay. Techniques are human, right? Now, Lul says technique is what integrates the machine into human society, right? Okay, the machine itself is antisocial. Now, techniques are beyond natural simplicity, right? Nature, as I said, it doesn't really rely on mediation, right? Okay. Um, the simplification of means towards a plethora of ends, right, is a natural system instead of a technological system, right? Okay. Now, let's go to the idea, right, of techniques, right, and tools. Right now, of course, a technique can be applied to the use of a tool, right? Okay, and also, right, tools are sort of extensions of technique, right? Now, a tool may move at the speed and pace of human movement. A machine does not. A machine puts into effect automation, right? The efficiency of means, right? And that is a stark departure from either a tool or a technique, right? Okay. So it's obvious that machines are not governed by the same laws of thought as techniques, right? But, anyways, what about nature, right? Nature supports a simplification of means towards a plethora of end, natural simplicity, the uncarved block, right? Okay, now the ways of natural simplicity are against the modes of cultural refinement, according to Lao Tzu, right? Trying to gain knowledge, creating externalized standards for morality, trying to live to try to please others in human society, to try to gain fame, right? Instead of try to improve one's health, right? Okay. And to not be sort of self-reliant, right? Gaining knowledge so that you don't have to gain any more knowledge, right? Okay, learning what you don't know, right? Learning what's better not to know, right? Every day in the path of knowledge, one, okay, moves forward through incremental gain, but the way of the Tao is a way of moving backwards, right? Returning to the source, right? The natural simplicity and the harmony between things, right? Okay. Now I'm going to open up some of this, you know, reading here. Okay. And we're going to look at some of the Tao Te Ching, right, by Lao Tzu. We're on the Philip J. Ivanhoe translation, right? And we have a couple more translations. We're going to look at the Crowleyan translation of the Tao Te Ching and also the Christian translation. So we'll have a little Christian versus Satanist, look, dialectic in the Tao, within the Tao, right? Okay, which will show us how maybe how it can be used and abused, you mean, or whatever, you mean. Okay, but we're given lots of different perspectives, right? And thank you so much for joining us. We do have the link pinned, okay, but we don't have any guests. So what are you going to do? It's the middle of the day where we've kind of shifted the time of these shows, right? So we really appreciate you guys joining us, right? We're looking at the Tao Te Ching, right? And talking about, solutions in the Tao, right? Now we're going to go back to chapter 42, right? Last time we looked at 42 through 49 almost, right? And this time we'll be looking at a few chapters, but here it says in 49, right? Say oh yeah, actually I already read 49. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're moving on to 50 here, right? It says in 50, between life and death, 3 out of 10 are disciples of life. 3 out of 10 are disciples of death. 3 out of 10 create a place for death. Why is this? Because of their profound desire to live, right? Okay. People who are they always contend. They're obsessed with survival, right? Those people are disciples of death, right? Because they don't serve life, right? And anyways, you can't, life isn't for a goal, right? It's not for the end of life, right? So obviously, people who act as if life is for the end of life, right, and always contend with others, they don't have peace. Right now, he says, obviously the sage rules by delegating, right? Okay, he said, I've heard that those who are good at nurturing life on the land do not meet with rhinoceroses or tigers. Okay. And in battle, do not encounter armored warriors. Rhinoceroses find no place to thrust their horns. Tigers find no place to sink their claws. Soldiers find no place to drive their blades. Why is this? Because such people have no place for death. Okay. Henceforth, right, they're disciples of life. Right? They teach righteousness, right? They don't worry about praise and blame. Right? They don't incur violence. Their goal in a violent conflict is, basic rule of survival, right? And to get out of the conflict, right? And neither harming themselves or their enemy, right, is a goal of theirs, right? But just to put an end to the conflict, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of ideas, and obviously they delegate the use of violence. Okay, so there's this whole idea of benevolent leaders, right? The people who are courageous, the people who are righteous, right? And yeah, they serve life. They're about living. You know? But yeah, it says the way produces them, virtue rears them, things shape them. Okay, now let's go back to 42, right? where it says the way produces one, the one produces two, two produces three, right? Now, obviously, there's one, right, which produces nothing, right, within which is produced, heaven, and then heaven produces earth or the 10,000 things, the myriad creatures, right? Okay. So this is a basic cycle of creation, right? One creates an intelligent system. Within it is an intelligence, right? Which gives birth to an intelligence, right? Which is cohesive, one, right? And what does it do? It creates earth, right? Okay. So there's a sort of Taoist cosmology, right? Just as in the story of Shvetaketu, there's consciousness says, may I become many, and becomes light, which says, may I become many, and becomes water, which says, may I become many, and becomes matter, right? So it says, the way produces them, virtue rears them, and things shape them. Okay. So obviously there's a internal natural simplicity to the way things work once they're produced into the world, right? And yeah, they're shaped by the other things that are produced in the world. And obviously it's time and circumstances which perfect these things, right? This is why the myriad creatures all revere the way and honor virtue. The way is revered and virtue honored, not because this is decreed, but because it is natural. And so the way produces them, and virtue rears them, raises and nurtures them, settles and confirms them, nourishes and shelters them. Now, this is the key line, right? This idea of enigmatic virtue or primal virtue, right? To produce without possessing, to act with no expectation of reward, to lead without lording over. Okay. See, this is the description, right, of not trying to change things, right? Returning to the state of uncarved block, natural simplicity, right? And to live without praise and blame, right? Okay, is what he says here in 51, to produce without possessing, to act with no expectation of reward, to lead without lording over. Okay, enigmatic, primal virtue, right? Supported by the constant harmony of things, right? Okay, now he's trying to say that this is how things rule without creating conflict, right? By merging opposites. Okay, we're on chapter 52. It says, the world had a beginning. Okay, interesting. There's lots of conflicts about that, right? Whether the world is eternal or it had a beginning, right? Okay. So this can be considered the mother of the world, right? Knowing the mother returned to know her children, right? Remember we discussed that earlier, right? It's heaven, okay, which is the mother of earth, right? Essentially.
Right? Knowing her children return and preserve their mother, and one will avoid danger to the end of days. Stop up the opening, close the gates. To the end of one's life, one will remain unperturbed, unstop the openings, multiply your activities. Remember this from chapter 1, right? Ever desiring, one can see the manifestations. Ever desireless, one can perceive the mysteries, right? Okay, he said if you multiply your activities to the end of one's life, you'll be beyond salvation, right? See, simplicity is the cornerstone of virtue, right? So to discern the minute is called enlightenment, quote unquote. To preserve the weak is called, quote unquote, strength. Use this light and return home to this enlightenment. Do not bring disaster upon yourself. This is called practicing the constant. Okay? Yeah, constancy and simplicity kind of go hand in hand. Right? Complexity and change and assimilation go hand in hand. Yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. The 10 people that are rocking here. Some hardcore motherfuckers, to be honest. I mean, I appreciate you guys. Now, check this out. Let's compare this with chapter 80, right? He says, if I know anything at all, I know that in following the great way, there is but one concern. The great way is smooth and easy. Yet people love to take shortcuts. The court is resplendent, yet the fields are overgrown. The granaries are empty. Yet some wear elegant clothes, fine swords dangle at their sides. They are stuffed with food and drink, and they possess wealth in gross abundance. This is known as taking pride in robbery. Far is this from following the way. Now look at this. The court is resplendent, right? Yet the fields are overgrown, right? So they can't tend to the fields, right? But they have cultural refinement, right? But they've totally let go of nature, of tending to nature, right? Everything in the city is because of trade. That's why the granaries are empty, right? Fine swords dangle at people's sides, right? Why? Right? Because they're enjoying food and drink, right? They want to enjoy the benefits of their labor, right? And they're naturally opposed to their neighbors, right? If anybody gets in their way, it's going to be a problem. Right? Everyone's out for themselves, right? Okay, they possess wealth and gross abundance, right? So he's saying that this way of cultural refinement is a trash society, right? Okay, he says, what's the great society like, right? Okay, let me go to 80. We're comparing chapter 53 and 80, right? In 80, he says, reduce the size of the state, lessen the population. Make sure that even though there are labor-saving tools, they are never used. Make sure that people look upon death as a weighty matter and never move to distant places. Even though they have ships and carts, they will have no use for them. Even though they have armor and weapons, they will have no reason to deploy them. Make sure that people return to the use of the knotted cord. make their food savory, their clothes fine, their houses comfortable, their lives happy. Now, check this part out. Then, even though their neighboring states are within sight of each other, even though they can hear the sounds of the others' dogs and chickens, their people will grow old and die without ever having visited one another. Crazy. Blessings. I appreciate you guys showing love in the chat here. I mean, blessings to the homie Shabruta. Televised Apocalypse. Denise. Peck Beck. No. Destroyer. Dogma Free. Blessings, homies. Browns Boy, of course. Dr. E, of course. Thank you guys. I greatly appreciate your support. Yeah, and let's 54. What is firmly grounded will not be pulled out. What is firmly embraced will not be lost. Okay, through the sacrifices of one's descendants, it will never cease. Cultivate it in oneself, and its virtue will be genuine. Cultivate it in one's family, and its virtue will be more than enough. Cultivate it in one's village, and its virtue will be long lasting. Cultivate it in one state, and its virtue will be abundant. Cultivate it throughout the world, and the virtue will be everywhere. Okay. Take stock of the family by looking at the family. Take stock of the village by looking at the village. See, take stock at the state by looking at the state. Take stock at the world by looking at the world. How do I know the world is this way? Through this, he says. Those who are steeped in virtue are like newborn children. Okay. So purity and simplicity and being nurtured by the source. Okay. Poisonous creatures will not strike them. Fierce beasts will not seize them. Birds of prey will not snatch them away. Their bones are weak and sinews are yielding, yet their grip is firm. They do not yet know the union of a male and female, but their potency is at its height. This is because they are perfectly pure. They can wail all day without growing hoarse. This is because they are perfectly balanced. Knowing balance is called constancy. Knowing constancy is called enlightenment. Okay. Quite different from the idea of building up yourself to some future state. Right? He says constancy is enlightenment. Simplicity and harmony is enlightenment, right? What helps life along is called inauspicious. Okay, when the heart and mind is used to guide the key vital energies, this is called forcing things. For after a period of vigor, there is old age. To rely on such practices is said to be contrary to the way. Isn't that funny that people think that the Tao is about, gathering up all this energy and achieving enlightenment? He literally says that's not what it's about. I mean, trying to control vital energy is contrary to the way. He literally says it. Right? To rely on such practices is said to be contrary to the way, and what is contrary to the way will come to an early end. Okay, folks? Why? Those who know do not talk about it. Those who talk about it do not know it. Obviously. Okay? Look at the women. Talking is for prior resolution. Okay? Anyways. Blessings, exactly. Blessings to Cyber Caliphate.
the new channel. Please go and subscribe there. Blessings to Joe Mills, the big homie. Let's take a little musical break, and then we'll come back with Why the Future Doesn't Need Us by Bill Joy. We have another hour to talk to you about transhumanism. And, of course, the link is pinned. Okay. And, yeah, we went on Talcott's panel recently, talked to an atheist debate channel in the area called Breakfast Tacos, and some of his pro-science views, okay, pro-science and technology, right? Okay, were much in line with Huxley's theories of transhumanism, right? That we should accelerate the evolutionary process, right? Give or take that this will eliminate humanity, right? Well, that's not a big factor, right? Okay. As they might say, billions of species have been eliminated in the past. What's just one more? Right? Anyways, biological intelligence is the same as non-biological intelligence, they'll tell you, right? Are any of these things true? We've been pushing back against some of these main ideas, right? And forming alternative theories, right? So that we could combat the ideology that technology is harmless, right? And combat the delusion that the machines are not guiding the quote-unquote evolution of human society already, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and get some music, and we'll be back soon. Blessings. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy some music, all right? Blessings.
Military military tragedy Gaddafi, black Medine, military got these devils petrified, got these devils petrified, military military got these devils petrified, got these devils petrified. Tragedy Gaddafi, black Medine was military moms, ghetto apostle, soundtracks to the streets. 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 Military moms. Prophetic lines, scratch that, I spit that another time. Fast forward the paradigm, hip-hop's a love of mine. Predetermined to die like Sandy Hook and Columbine. I'm just trying to block out all the noises. Like the news is poisonous, cause it destroys us. Controlled by the very corporations that employ us. Assassinate the characters of those who try to warn us. Magnify the personal problems of us performers. That's called misdirection. On a global level, take the minds off the problem that affect us. Next comes some affair or scandal. Really, it's a shambles, so you can't focus on a real vandal. They feminized the game down. Everybody's gay now. To buy for me, my line's still apocryphy for those down. 3 years state bound, locked up but out now. From a lost child of Sebastian, now we all found.
There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is this unseen power which makes itself felt and yet defies all truth. because it is so unlike all that I perceive.
Mind over matter, manifestation of great minds. So much pain in my life, at times I hated mine, but the past built character for Adam and shine. Maybe I'm just similar to semi-autos when they bust. No justice is just us in this world of lust, crushed by the past, resurrected at last. Time will move fast for those who move slow, show and prove though. Life is a blessing if knowledge of man grows. Religion is confinement, my alignment is like stars laying in the galaxy on consignment. Far as rap go, illness intellectual flow, you know, like a Rosicrucian, my lines produce solutions. Comedic sciences, esoteric alliances can tell you what the future hold. I did it on Illuminati, Mahdi, say wisdom of Gandhi, buried in Palestine, Asia Minor where you find me.
It transcends the senses, but it is possible to reason out the existence of God to a limited extent. Even in ordinary affairs, we know that people do not know who rules or why and how he rules. And yet they know.
I let niggas like you call me uncle before the meat wagon comes and scrapes them up. Nigga! If you got any guts, you make a move so I can mop the floor up with your ass.
I go take you to a place you see you never been there before. I own you know.
No, I have to go.
I go take you to a place you see you never been there before. I own you know.
No, I have to go.
Copacabana, cut your tongue off a katana. The warmonger wearing Bodhidharma body armor. Son of Ravana, Ashwatthama Maharata. Parama, Brahman, Supreme Rasta. Practice extreme prana, samsara. This is Nirvana. Buddha Vakana from Tathagata Garbha. My forefathers conscious like Theonis. You don't even understand what I'm saying, be honest. Lightning bolt, Vajrayana, Thunderbolt, Obama. With B.A. Baracus in a black tomahawk chopper. Mr. T doing the cha-cha. Dressed like Zulu shakas. Eating green eggs, Hassan salsa. You know you wearing bootleg when the logo is too big. When the tag says made in Manolo, Jesus crib. Matte black AR. ACOGs and K-bars. We make duck sauce out of Gog and Magog. The airborne flippers with meteorite zippers. Tell a skipper to use his helio-like dimmers. You know you ain't in the right business. You like to spit, I like to listen. We like hyenas babysitting some kittens. I swoop down like a winged griffin and pitch him. Leave his limbs missing, dirty ass feet like city pigeons.
I go take you to a place you see you never been there before. I own you know.
No, I have to go.
I go take you to a place you see you never been there before. I own you know.
No, I have to go.
Yeah, I promise piranhas, minor marijuana farmer, white widow, spider lighter, plantain clips for llamas, atomic, Verlander slider, shell providers, catch comet, cigarello, spell, cumulus climber, spit shiner, uterus, find a secluded survivor, diva, scuba diver, combined with urban MacGyver, rhyme of matte black clouds on top of my family opera. My mood is chupacabra, sprinkled with ocean liners, in St. Lucia waters, screws loose and hardest armor, the constant garden mixed with George Carver, Pearl Harbors, swirl diamonds in my verse, train of thought robbers, chisel chopper chapters, Montego Bay climates, visible monuments inside the sound, acknowledge it. Kevlar halos, when I rise, we go polycam. Meanwhile, demolishing, disembowelment, slitching college and hologram, disappear like hollow man. Sharpen pen, drill darts through his cardigan. Autograph a camel toe, marvelous artisan. Casual to the cannon, blow harvest my sonogram. There'll never be another like me, you probably R.E.M. You hate to admit you feeling it like a phantom limb. No plaques, but I planted platinum whip. Jesus feet, not one of the kings. Sacrilege.
Looks like no guests. It's all good. And probably people are busy. You know, but I appreciate you guys, you know, being out here with me. You know,
And I'm gonna get started reading. I mean, but yeah, he says I've not been disappointed. Okay, my work has had more impact than I had ever hoped for and has been more widely used than I could have ever reasonably expected. This is a writer named Bill Joy writing Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. And he's writing about why he's not a Luddite, although he thinks responsible relinquishment of certain forms of technology are going to be necessary in the future. And he's going to especially make the case against Kurzweil, right, in terms of nanotechnology, right? He thinks nanotechnology is an example of a technology that should be, regulated, if not abandoned, right, in the long run, right? Okay. So he's in cope mode with the technology, right, and the science. I mean, mega cope, right? So let's see what he has to say. He says, I've spent my last 20 years trying to figure out how to make computers as reliable as I want them to be. They're not nearly there yet, and how to make them simple to use, a goal that has met with even less relative success. Despite some progress, the problems that remain seem even more daunting. But while I was aware of the moral dilemmas surrounding technology's consequences in fields like weapons research, see, that's the thing, is that they seem to relegate the problems, right, to where there's obvious harm, right? But it's obvious that no um technology, right, that's developed, right, that's used in an inappropriate fashion, right, to harm somebody else is ever seen as the culprit, right? So the capacity is never brought into question. I mean, so we've seen that time and time again, right? Okay. And that's one of the ideas, right? That is a feature and not a bug, usually, right? Stated, right? So, and where we see most technologies, once they're developed, they have to be implemented, or they have to get um ahead of the problem of the misuse of them, right? So the second step is usually dealing with the unintended consequences that's caused by the use of the new technologies, right? And we've seen that time and time again. But he says, while I was aware of the moral dilemma surrounding technology's consequences in fields like weapons research, I did not expect that I would confront such issues in my own field. That's right. The system's interconnected, right? Okay. The system is totally interconnected, right? So it's obvious, right, that that he didn't understand that developments in one field are going to lead to developments in his own field, right? He thinks that just by his own personal view of the situation and his grasp of his knowledge, he's able to control the developments in his own field of research, right? But here comes research from the weapons fields, right? That's going to influence his research, right? That's happening in every field, right? Okay. So yeah, blessings to the peeps here. I mean, I appreciate you guys. I mean, can a computer save my soul? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, folks, we're here for another 30 we're here for another hour. So yeah, blessings. But yeah. So he thinks that the danger is only coming from one part, but that field affects all other areas of development. See the problem, right? We're dealing with the interconnected system, complex systems, right? It's hard to predict changes within complex systems, right? It's the reality of the situation, right? Yeah, add 3 wolves to Yellowstone Park and change the direction of a river, right? Okay, it's the real deal, right? Simple leads to complex. Just ask Stephen Wolfram, right? He's coming up in a minute, right? Okay, perhaps it's always hard to see the bigger impact. Yeah, you think, right? While you are in a vortex of a change, failing to understand the consequences of our inventions, while we are in the rapture of discovery, innovation seems to be a common fault of scientists and technologists. We have long been driven by the overarching desire to know. That is the nature of this of science's quest, not stopping to notice that the progress to newer and more powerful technologies can take a life of its own. Yep, totally agree with that, right? All right, um hmm. Compress what into a zip file? What are you talking about? What? Anyways, I've long realized the big advances in information technology come not from work of computer scientists, computer architects, or electrical engineers, but from physical scientists. Okay. The physicist, Stephen Wolfram and Brassel Haslacker. I don't know how to say that. Haslacker. Brassel, that's Brossl, and Haslacher, Hasslascher. So you guys could look that up if you want. I'm not too familiar with the second guy, but I'm familiar with Stephen Wolfram, right? Who created Wolfram Alpha, right? Computing software, right? And yes, he's a theorist and a mathematician on ideas of physics, right? Yeah, that's funny because the guy that I'm reading from, he actually created those types of programs, zip files. Right? So that's what's funny. He's responsible for creating extraction software, right? Compression and extraction, right, of files and data, right? But yeah, in the 1990s, I learned about complex systems from conversations with Danny Hillis. Danny Hillis. Stuart Kauffman, the Nobel laureate physicist Murray Gell-Mann, and others. Most recently, Haslacher. I don't know what this devil's name is, right? Haslacher, some shit, right? The electrical engineer and device physicist Mark Reed. Okay, not the Mark Reed we know, but Mark Reed, someone or another, right? REED, right? Have been given me insight into incredible possibilities of molecular electronics. In my own work as co-designer of 3 microprocessor architectures, Spark
Interesting name. SPARC. Pico Java. Pico Java is the name. Yeah. Not too familiar with that. If we had Hanko Flamio on panel, he could probably explain all these things. He was explaining a lot of these programs last time. That's how I know that this guy was involved in developing software for compressing and extracting files and stuff. Right? But yeah. Yeah, blessings. Yeah. Turn this off for a second. Yeah, I'm very, very tired from fasting. I mean, so I apologize. I mean, but yeah. It says MAJC, Pico Java, Spark, SPARC, Pico Java, and MAJC. And as the designer of several implementations thereof, I've been afforded a deep and firsthand acquaintance with Moore's Law. Okay, that's the exponential development of communication technology, space, and memory, right? In terms of space and memory, right? For decades, Moore's law has been correctly predicting the exponential rate of improvement of semiconductor technology. Okay, that's a more precise definition there that he just said, right? Until last year, I believed that the rate of advances predicted by Moore's law might continue only until roughly 2010. But some physical limits would begin to be reached. It was not obvious to me that new technology would arrive in time to keep performance advancing smoothly. But because of the more recent and rapid and radical progress in molecular electronics, where individual atoms and molecules replace lithographically drawn transistors and related nanoscale technologies, we should be able to meet or exceed the Moore's law rate of progress for another 30 years, he says. By 2030, interesting, we're coming up on that date, right? But he got some predictions wrong recently, right? Because me and Hanko Flamio were breaking down some of his other predictions about how much a computer will cost, right? In 2020, right? And yeah, he was wrong about the price, right? So some of his predictions have been wrong during this. Yeah, blessings. Okay. By 2030, we're likely to build. Okay, wait. Wait, where? Okay, by 2030, we're likely to be able to build machines in quantity 1,000,000 times as powerful as the personal computers of today, sufficient to implement the dreams of Kurzweil and Moravec. Okay, that means that human beings combined with machines, those are their dreams, right? That they're talking about, right? Okay, so it's clear that Moravec and Kaczynski and Kurzweil, they all talk about human beings being combined with machines, right? And they're not doing it as a thought experiment. They're not doing it as a sci-fi story, right? No. They're talking about the near future, right? In terms of development of technology, right? Okay. Now he says, as this enormous computing power is combined with the manipulative advances of physical sciences and a new deep understanding in genetics, enormous transformative power is being released. These combinations open the opportunity to completely redesign the world for better or worse. Okay? Remember what Lao Tzu said. You cannot change the world and improve it. Right? Okay? Okay, now he says the replicating and evolving processes that have been confirmed to the natural world are about to become realms of human endeavor. In designing software and microprocessors, I have never had the feeling that I was designing an intelligent machine. The software and hardware is so fragile, and the capabilities of machines to quote unquote think so clearly absent, even as a possibility that this has always seemed very far in the future. But now, with the prospect of human level computing power in about 30 years, a new idea suggests itself, he says, that I may be working to create tools that will enable the construction of technology that may replace our species. How do I feel about this? Very uncomfortable, he says. Very uncomfortable. Okay, having struggled my entire career to build reliable software systems, it seems to me more than likely that this future will not work out as well as some people may imagine. My personal experience suggests that we tend to overestimate our design abilities. Okay. Given the incredible power of these new technologies, shouldn't we be asking how we can coexist with them? And if our extinction is is a likely or even possible outcome of our technological development, should we proceed with great caution? Right? As if it's a question, right? They say that the use of technology is not optional. There's no giving up, right? They say that advancement in one area can't control advancements in other areas, right? Right? And he has the balls to ask if it's a problem or not. Shouldn't we proceed with great caution is his question. Like what? The dream of robotics is first that intelligent machines can do our work for us, allowing us lives of leisure, restoring us to Eden. Yet in his history of such ideas, Darwin among the machines, George Dyson warns, quote, in the game of life and evolution, there are three players at the table: human beings, nature, and machines. Okay, let me read that again. In the game of life and evolution, there are three players at the table: human beings, nature, and machines. Okay, that's taking it very clearly back to our idea that we kind of began with, right? Here. Okay. Blessings. Thank you guys for being here. But yeah, warped ideas about man's relationship to God, man's relationship to nature, man's relationship to man, and man's relationship to technology, right? Very much so. So, yeah, thank you. Moving on. He says, I am firmly on the side of nature. Okay. So you heard it there first, right? The technologist, right, or the scientist, right, is either going to be on the side of the nature or the technology, right? Who's going to be on the side of humanity, right? Who's going to be team human? Three players in the evolutionary game: man, nature, and machines, right? Okay, interesting. Okay, he says, I am firmly on the side of nature, but nature, I suspect, is on the side of the machines. Very odd statement, right? As we have seen, Moravik agrees, believing we may well not survive the encounter with the superior robot species. Okay, and I disagree with them. Okay, I think that nature is team human. I don't think nature's on the side of machines. I mean, but yeah, interesting. From Darwin among the machines. I mean,
Yeah, I would agree that nature is itself for humanity.
yeah,
That's why I clicked the link and started getting deep into that. I was like, oh man, I've been thinking about similar things.
you get into the poetic expressions of the Jews. During the time of the Maccabees, right? You have that Book of Enoch stuff, right? And it basically is critiquing the gods of the pagans as the Nephilim, right? And essentially what it says is that all this knowledge and stuff that they brought and taught mankind caused them to destroy the earth until the earth cried out to God and literally said, um, you know, bring the flood so that the children of the earth may be saved. I mean, from their own destruction at the hands of the knowledge of the watchers. So that's quite poetic, but
Still watching, man. Yeah.
but I'll tell you what's not poetic. I mean, they are creating a techno state that's going to be ruled through Israel, right? Where a false Messiah will be seated on the throne of Solomon, a body without a soul. I mean, that one is not going to be, some story. I mean, that's coming up soon. So you guys better watch out for what you're following and what's going on in the world here.
100%, man. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Not a lot of
Yes, sir.
people clicking the link. Surprising, huh?
I don't know. Well, so much what you say is so deep. It's like you gotta sit back and just listen, man. But the nature and technology thing, I was thinking about, like, I'll bring it up eventually. I don't want to interrupt your reading.
No, it's all good. Go ahead.
Well, like studying like the difference between like the asteroids and where these amino acids come from and like the whole thing. What is the line of organic versus synthetic? Like it's just natural stuff that we're manipulating. So at what point in the manipulation does it become synthetic material?
I think at the level of the mechanical.
Or it's automated itself?
Yeah.
Somehow?
Yeah, so I think techniques are human. They integrate machines into society. Like Alul says, everything technique touches, it transforms into a machine. And really, what's going on is that humans are being made mechanical from the inside out. By the use of machines. So obviously, what's happening is that the mechanical is a replacement for the natural, as Alul says, but it has to get to the level of the mechanical. It can't just be at the level of just pure technique, but the goal of technique is the development of machines. So, I've given this little spiel a few times here, but yeah, I mean, essentially, you know, yeah, I think humanity is creating a system that it can't control that's going to be hijacked by forces that are beyond its control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, the people who see through that, they're not going to become mechanical. They're not. They're going to refuse to combine with machines. I mean, right? So, all it takes is a mustard seed of faith. I mean, right? And you can liberate yourself. I mean, so anybody who has that, is not going to be uploaded. I mean, so so this is the thing is that, but there's not going to be many people who don't who have that anymore. That's going to be the brute reality of the situation. That the control of the system is going to be so pervasive. There's going to be barely anybody with even a fucking mustard seed of fucking faith in their goddamn heart anymore. I mean, willing to
Yeah.
stand up against, becoming totally machine-like. I mean,
Right. We've already seen it play out on a smaller scale way too easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so he goes on to say, it's getting pretty weird here. I mean, he just read Darwin among the machines. We're going to read some of that later. But he says, how soon could such an intelligent robot be built? The coming advances in the computing power seem to make it possible by 2030. It's weird he keeps putting out that date. 2030, folks. It's when this thing's going to wake up.
Well, I don't think it's going to be allowed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good is win out over evil. Yeah.
I think the final judgment will come before that. Because you had the Nephilim, which were the mixing of the seed man with fallen angels. And I don't think God's going to allow a third incursion. They're trying to, but I don't think it's going to be allowed. Hopefully.
I agree.
Anyway,
yeah,
I got an appointment to meet Jack Telcott today.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna give him this book.
Very nice. That's quite a news.
Oh, you're
item.
meeting in real life? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in
that's
Spokane visiting
that's
my
excellent.
children
Blessings.
today.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
And we were talking about the scriptures being misunderstood. Revelations is mostly past history. And Jesus said he was going to come in that generation, and they were expecting him in that generation. And I believe the millennial reign is over. We're living in Satan's little season of Revelations 20, 7 through 9. And this book explains it. I bought 10 of
Are you
these
gonna
books.
Are you gonna be appearing on the show with him?
No, we're just gonna have coffee or something.
Ah.
Oh, I could take my laptop and we could.
Yeah, right. Because
yeah, dude.
Oh, actually, that's right now, isn't it? His show is right now. Yeah, but
I was on his show for 5 minutes ago, and then he said he was closing up. I don't know if he stayed up for a while. Is he still on?
Oh, we're going to be reviewing our interaction with breakfast tacos later tomorrow. So yeah, blessings breakfast tacos. I mean, very interesting conversation we had. I mean, but yeah, very much in line with. I wonder if he'll agree with Bill Joy or disagree with Bill Joy. I mean,
yeah. See, I believe he did return, and that's one reason why people don't believe the scriptures is because it said that he would return. And I believe they're hiding history that he did return. The Statue of Liberty, 1776, is exactly 1,000 years.
But what happens after Satan's little season of Rocky?
The final judgment.
Okay, then Jesus comes back again, right?
Well, it's the final judgment. It's the final judgment where the world is restored. Um, the new heaven comes down.
The only interaction we had, tacos on Jack Talcott. Yeah, blessings. Very interesting reflections that you gave. I mean, and we got interrupted a little bit by Sanity Machine, but yeah, I really appreciate you. I mean, oh, okay, so that's why there's so many people here. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, yeah, there's like 10 people here the whole time, so I'm wondering like why there's so many people. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. We're reading Bill Joy, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. You know, and yeah, and Rocky's meeting with the brother Talcott. Blessings. So yeah, this is this is cool. I hope Talcott will join as well. I mean, but yeah, it says the second dream of robotics is that we will gradually replace ourselves with our robotic technology. Okay, achieving near immortality by downloading our consciousness. In this process that Danny Hillis thinks we will gradually get used to, and that Ray Kurzweil elegantly details in The Age of Spiritual Machines. Okay, remember I talked about the Age of Spiritual Machines and why this idea, the Age of Spiritual Machines, is very important because, obviously Gurdjieff talked about us as spiritual machines, right? So I think that that is a very interesting concept, right? Yeah, let me do this view for now. Yeah, this is fine, because I could go three ways, but but yeah, he says that genetic engineering promises to revolutionize agriculture by increasing crop yields while reducing the use of pesticides to create tens of thousands of novel species of bacteria, viruses, and animals to replace production or supplement it with cloning. Okay, we all know where that's gone. Okay, where they put fish genes into fucking tomatoes and totally create frankenfoods. You know what I mean? Total destruction of the environment through the use of synthetic nitrogen, poisoning the water table, and wiping out the fucking coral reefs. I mean, right, by creating dead zones and algae blooms in the fucking water. You mean with the pesticide morphing the fucking species and killing all the fucking ladybugs. We talked about all this shit. I mean,
I bought some tomato juice once, and I was pouring it out, and then I opened the can, and I poured it out, and it looked like there was a little fish in it, like a little. It was disgusting. I said, "What the fuck is that thing?" It's because they
squid billies
genetically modified fish with tomatoes to make them like resistant to something. I don't know.
Yeah, see this. Yeah, see, but ultimately it's about obviously the DDT, which is now just a chemical different glyphosate, is endocrine disruptor, right? It morphs you from the fucking inside out. You know what I mean? Masculinization of females, feminization of males. You know what I mean? Yeah, it morphs the weeds and the invasive species. You know what I mean? That come into the motherfucking area, right? So you have the Japanese beetle invasion with the DDT, that we were talking about with Rachel Carlson in Silent Spring, right? So there's many resources. You guys could look it up. I mean, but they're still using the same methods. I mean, unfortunately. And this guy's saying that it's good. Yeah, this guy hasn't watched the show in a long time. Let's take a look. Empires were ruled by emperors. Kingdoms were ruled by kings. What are countries ruled by? Well, I talked about that earlier in the program. The autocratic state, right? The artificial man, right? The machine that speaks for man. Okay, you get hip to the game, Tricky Woo. You mean? I mean, we're talking about the architectonic, right? The mega machine, according to Lewis Mumford, man as a symbol making animal, right? And the mechanical impulse, right? The death urge, accelerationism, Sabbateanism, dispensationalism, all sorts of shit going on. I mean, in the mix. I mean, obviously the Jews. I mean, the Jews.
Yeah, that goes into the fake history. So the third temple, there's no scripture that says the third temple is to be built. The second temple was destroyed in 70 AD, and then the tribulation, and then Christ returned, reigned for 1,000 years, and then they added 700 years to our history, which comes out to 1776.
Yeah, 1776. That's interesting because
You got
lots
the
of
statue.
shit coincide at the same time. It's
got
like
the
19.
You got the statue of so-called liberty, the light bearer, and then if you look, it's got a chain around its ankle that's been broken. So the Bible says in Revelations 20:7-9 that the Lucifer or Satan will be released from his chains.
Yeah, it says it's given to America by the Grand Orient Temple Freemasons.
And America,
I mean,
America was an Indian name which meant America, which the land of the serpent.
Oh, really?
That's what it originally meant.
That's always promising. You know, snakes.
And then they
I mean,
made a
there's always a good
contract.
promise behind snakes. There's always a good promise behind the snakes. I mean, you know, I was born a year of the snake, so that's always a good sign. I mean,
So the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty is really the liberty to sin against God. That's what it was all about. Not freedom, but liberty.
Well, the libertines. I mean, look at the libertines in France. I mean, what were they responsible
So
for?
the French Revolution was warring against the kingdoms of God. That Jesus was the King of Kings, and then the kings were, you could believe or not, because he ruled with the iron rod. It doesn't mean it was perfect during the 1,000-year reign. It just means there were kingdoms. And
well, I don't know if you ever seen the cover for the book Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes. Rocky, let me show you this. Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, right? In which he says that the government will be set up as an artificial man. You know what I mean? And it's so funny that he kind of says this whole thing, but look at the cover of Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes, and he actually drew this himself. I mean, and think of the name of the book. Why is the name of the book called Leviathan? I mean, see, this is very interesting.
Remember the Bible verse that says that we will tread on serpents, that Christians can tread on serpents, and then you had the remember the "Don't tread on me" flag, a snake cut in 13 pieces.
Yeah, Leviathan. Oh yeah. Leviathan is also a serpent. I mean, and look what this guy has here. He has a dude. I mean, that's a king, right? That's essentially, you can't really see it that well here, right? But his body. Okay, wait. View image. Is there a way we could? Okay, yeah, we could zoom into it now. Okay, let me see. So if you zoom into this, see his motherfucking body is made of the people. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what he means by this concept of artificial man. I mean, that the government, that the people give their sovereignty to the state. I mean, that has a monopoly on violence. I mean, so the monarch is rules by the consent of the governed. I mean, so this whole system they created, and he called it Leviathan, and he named another thing about landed parliaments Behemoth. So he actually used the two beasts that circle the throne of God. I mean, in order to describe his new world mythos, right, of scientific atheism. And of course, we have both scientific misanthropy and lots of other ideas that are coming about, you know, just as George Dyson explained. He said there's three different you know, players in the evolutionary schema as they define it, man, nature, and the machines. And he says that he's on team nature, but he thinks nature's on team machine. So, which I think is totally false. But that's where we're at, folks.
I wouldn't say nature's against machines per se. However, it is for man.
I think
But
nature.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I don't know. Is it against machines? Like,
I think nature has fallen and it's going to be restored. The whole earth is waiting for the return to restore the Garden of Eden because it's kind of been corrupted.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know if you caught my whole rant about the body without a soul sitting on the throne of King Solomon. I think that's the technochrist. The technocult. The antichrist. Yeah, definitely. I know I might lose like 2 or 3 viewers just by saying that. Because that sounds kooky. But yeah, I gave a little rant on it that justifies it more clearly. So go and look into that. But yeah, genetic engineering promises to revolutionize agriculture. Bunch of hogwash. Right? He says we know with certainty that these profound changes in the biological sciences are imminent and will challenge all our notions of what life is. Okay, so we'll see what part of technology does he want to keep. He's talked about computers. He's talked about weapons technology. He's talked about genetic engineering. He's talked about that it's going to be used for food production. So, and of course, one part of the system affects other parts of the system. So, what exactly does he, what is exactly intelligent relinquishment of these technologies? He says technologies such as human cloning have in particular raised our awareness of profound ethical and moral issues we face. Okay, it's already been done, by the way. Okay, somebody's used genetic gene editing technology to create 2 twin babies, right, in China, and they're being studied by the Chinese government. So, and it was illegal for him to do that, by the way. And it says if we, for example, were to re-engineer ourselves into several separate and unequal species using power of genetic engineering, then we would threaten the notion of equality. This is the very cornerstone of our democracy. Okay. It's actually going to be told to people that everybody gets healthcare to turn themselves into whatever they want. That's already being argued with the trans gender situation. So it's just to ease people into the idea of medical science and transforming people. Which is quite obvious.
they've already got it where you can rent. They just announced it. The human organoids, brain stem cells, doing the computing processing because it's way more energy efficient.
Oh yeah.
It's already a thing.
Yeah. You could get neuron processors and have externalized neuron. Yeah, exactly. So they already have that. The thing that he's talking about, to advance your computing power. So yeah, neuron microchip processors. I pulled that up on the show actually. So it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. Yeah, blessings to Pixel T, blessings to the brother Jack Talcott. Blessings to Sleeper Cell Girl. That's my wife. Blessings. Luna Song. Missing Link. But yeah, it just kind of felt weird saying Sleeper Cell Girl. That's but that was her original screen name, when she when we met on Twitter. But yeah, blessings. Liberty is more about governance. Freedom is more about personhood. Great. engagement in the chat. I mean, very intelligent people in the chat. I love you guys. I mean, I appreciate you guys. I mean, Jimbo Khan. Blessings, Jimbo Khan. Frank Monday. I appreciate you. I mean, Filthy Phillips. Blessings, brother. Yeah. Yeah, thank you to the brother Talcott. And so yeah, I actually don't have that much more show left, right? But I appreciate you guys being here nonetheless. It's almost time to open the fast here. So it's finally time to eat some food. Right? It's a little 13-hour fast here.
Yo, blessings.
Yo, blessings, homie.
Yo, I wanted to drop something in your ear, TML. I got some wild stuff I'm looking into. And one of my homies, older gentleman living in Colorado off grid with his wife, he's been reading this book to me here and there in the evenings. He's read this thing almost 7 times. I can't put it down. This thing resonates at such a soul level. It's one of the most.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. We could read that on the show, definitely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna try. I think I found a digital copy of it. And for the listeners, what I'm referring to, there's a book that appears to be a rare ancient scroll called the. Sorry, my dog's going nuts. Let me get away. Hold up. The book is called the Holy Megillah, the Nasarian Bible, the teaching of the Essenes. And what's incredible about it is that it gives this forewarning when you open it up, basically telling you we don't have a lot of reference points to give you of person to person handling because of the nature of the content and people losing their lives for giving you this. So basically what it says, it goes all the way back from the Garden of Eden up till now. And it gets so wild because when it starts getting into the seals, it details stuff going on in the world like I've never seen before in a piece of literature that's that old. Like, it's just really crazy. The words that it uses, and then discussing the whole garden situation, it basically indicates, according to this, that humanity fell into density by a trickster coming to Adam and Eve, or Abdio, and convincing them to kill, and then to prepare their body, they had to kill something before their body could even take in the flesh, and then basically coerce them into like, yeah, if you do this, you can leave this place and you'll know more knowledge and you'll be more entwined with me. And then they started to do it and they were like, this doesn't feel right to us. And then it just boom. And then according to that story, the Cain and Abel situation is flipped. Cain did kill his brother according to that, but Cain was the one that was killing animals and Abel was the farmer. So it's flipped. So it's really interesting. And then all throughout it, you got people like Abraham being quoted as saying Lucifer's masquerading as Yahweh. This isn't right. And I mean, there's this whole like situation. It gets really wild. So yeah.
What's the name again?
It's called the Megillah, Megillah, the Holy Megillah, Nasarian Bible, Teaching of the Essenes is what I believe the copy my buddy's got was printed in 97. And he just found this happenstancely at a random place. And he started reading this shit to me. He's like, you're not going to believe what this shit talks about. He's like, it's got America mentioned in it, calls it like the land of the eagles or something like that. And then talks about the king of the eagle. And it talks about a white palace and how it's destroyed eventually. And how the king of the eagles pisses off the people of the crescent moon.
Yeah, you got to tell them that story about Mr. Sword one day with the tunnels underground.
Oh,
it's just some wild shit.
Isn't that shit crazy?
Yeah. That shit is some wild shit.
Yeah, dude. And I mean,
if you want to tell it right now, I mean, I'm about to close out the show.
If you're giving me room to tell, I'll briefly
I'm about to close out. Yeah, if you could do it like in 10 minutes, I'm about to close out the show.
I can do it real quick, guys. So back in the day when I was in my punk rock years, I went back in the day when I was doing my punk rock thing. I was at a concert with some friends of mine at an old opera house called the Sorg Opera House. It's in Middletown, Ohio. It was an old historic opera building. Not sure if it's still there to this day. I haven't gone up and looked around in a while. This is probably 2010, 2015. This is before I had the knowledge that I hold now, knowing about the underground tunneling systems and what have you. So we go to this. They did the performance up in the old ballroom with just hardwood floors, which they don't do that anymore. From what I heard shortly after that, they stopped because of the threat, the possibility of a fire could possibly break out because of the nature of it. So anyways, the whole thing ends. They take us downstairs into the basement area. They still got the old segregated areas with the signs still up. They take us into the basement. They show us this big cylinder. It's all concrete, and we could walk part way in, and then it was cemented over. And the person that gave us the tour said, well, Mr. Sorg was an eccentric businessman, and he just didn't like to go out in public, so he would go place to place underground using this tunneling system. And I remember that just used to not sit right with me. I thought, that's weird. That's weird. Why would you go through all that? Because you got some weird anxiety or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And then years later, it's like, oh shit, that's what it is. Yeah. And sometimes that's how it is, y'all. It's like that hidden in plain sight. We're going back and rewatching old movies that we watched back in the day, and then we're like, holy shit, that was in that? Yeah. Yep. Always been there. We just didn't know what it was. And oftentimes I think it's our creator sources, it prepares us to receive that knowledge at an appointed time when we can handle it. Because back in the day, I couldn't handle this kind of stuff. Nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, wild stuff, guys.
Yeah, weird shit going on in Ohio.
Yeah, and apparently all the an older lady I met on Discord some years ago she was like the truth or grandma. She came on there, man. She'd be like, you know about the red shoes, the Pope has? Let me tell you about the shoes. And then she starts like telling me about all these tunneling systems. Like all the children's hospitals in Ohio, they all got tunnels under them. And I'm like, what? And this was like, shit. This was after I had my son that passed, and at the time he spent a good amount of his existence at Children's Hospital. Actually, all of his existence for the time that he was there, or he was here. And so, had I known this back then, oh man, no, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. It had always been in the back of my mind. What are they doing? What are they doing when I can't go in the room or whatever, you know? So, yeah, it's real stuff. But I'm thankful for the knowledge. I'm thankful I have more of an understanding of the world that we live in and what goes on here. You know, knowledge is power if we wield it correctly.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know, they're engineering the food. You know, it's obvious, you know, they had made rice with vitamin A coated shells. I mean, and now it's geoengineered. And most of the rice you find is a white coating. I mean, it's not actual rice. I mean, most of the corn in the world is genetically modified. I mean, you know, most of the stuff that we eat is hybridized and genetically modified, and you know, you won't find landrace strains that are of those species. You know, they're specifically created for monoculture. I mean, and planting them in vast quantities totally re-engineers an environment, any ecosystem that you plant those things in, those hybridized non-local species and plants. It drastically alters the natural environment there. I mean, so this is the actual thing that we're dealing with, you know, and we didn't know these things until quite recently, actually. I mean, you know, but now they're putting fish genes into tomatoes, and you know what I mean, and it's a little late in the game. I mean, so this is the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, genetic engineering technology, you know, it's going to be used. It's already being used for the crops. I mean, soybeans, okay, that are not supposed to be eaten on mass quantities or grown on mass quantities. I mean, they have, you know, they re-engineer, you know, your body.
And a lot of that stuff's not even suitable for human consumption. It's for animal feed.
Well, it's not suitable for animals.
No.
You know, so that's the main point, is that, you know, it totally changes the animals. I mean, because they're supposed to be grazing on grass. I mean, so, you know, and if you look at polyphase farming, permaculture, you know, you look at Joel Salatin's work, you look at Alan Savory's work, you know, I mentioned definitely many names, right, where you could look at different people
who have made contributions, right, to alternatives for agriculture, right, working with the land and other things, right, where we don't have to rely on these monoculture methods. I mean, so there's lots of different ideas that we could use to combat this change. I mean, but yeah, and obviously read things like Rachel Carlson, right? Silent Spring, which is obviously, or read works about how every single country that had an industrial revolution soon had a communist revolution where they had to create unions because people tried to get the people into the factories to be slaves, right? And then they had to fight the communist revolution down, right? Because they tried to like take over the industry. I mean, so that happened in every country on Earth during the Industrial Revolution. I mean, industrialization totally altered the political climate. I mean, in every single nation on Earth. I mean, by exploiting, and the whole idea was about exploitation of the workers. They thought the technology was going to create less work, but it started exploiting the workers, enslaving them. That's what happened everywhere, right? So, and I'm closing out the show here, folks. I mean, it's been a brilliant run. Over 2 hours here. Please watch my other show, Made by Machine Bob, on the Cyber Caliphate channel, and we're going to be releasing part 2 soon of Made by Machine Bob. Right? And yeah, please everybody, let's have a closing here. I mean, thank you so much for being here with me. I mean,
Well, thanks for having me. I'll
yeah, of course.
Maybe me and Jack can go live off my laptop.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe I'll join you guys soon. I mean, yeah, blessings. And definitely, yeah.
My wife's still not returned yet, so I'm waiting on her, Jack. Once she gets here, I can take the car and we'll set up a meeting place.
Okay, that's later. Awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Good to see you, Rocky. Yeah, I'll get out of here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm streaming tomorrow morning as well. So, remember that, guys. I mean, join me tomorrow too. Yeah.
Thanks for having us, TML, man. Much love to the panel. Panel, I dropped something in the chat over there for you guys if you want to scope it out, and we'll figure out if this link's good or not. It says it's got a free download for the scroll, according to what I've seen. But yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that a little bit more. So don't, hopefully Excellent. That's an all right. Yeah, hopefully it's a good source. But yeah.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah, I know Lilith would be interesting. Absolutely. He loves like apocryphal stuff.
You're talking about the scene, right?
Yeah, but it's a rare scroll of it that goes even further than just the stuff found in the Qumran desert.
Jesus was a Nazarene, so that it's
there's an association with him and his brother James the Just, as well as John the Baptist being affiliated with that group, or the Ebionites, whatever. One of those two groups. We know they weren't. We know they didn't roll with the Sadducees and the Pharisees. We know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there does seem to be something to that for sure.
I'll check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I copied it. I'm gonna get out of here. Check it out. Excellent stream as always, Timo. Be well. And looking forward to that meeting with Jack too. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you all. Okay. So yeah, join me tomorrow.
Much love, homie. Yes, sir. I'll come through, bro. I'm gonna get some coffee and get it popping.
Yeah, cool.
I like the earlier stream times too. That's dope, dude. That's what's up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, blessings. Brother. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Okay. And yeah, there goes a incredible bunch of people that I met online, exclusively online. Right? And
I gotta say, I've really appreciated their company, you know, and I appreciate everybody who joins here. You know, thank you for joining us here on The Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And yeah, listen, everyone, believe in nothing until you could prove it for yourself. Obviously, how do you know something is true unless you know it for yourself? I mean, don't ask why if you know what's wrong. Start a well-intentioned fight and see the lies fly out in defense. I mean, really, you know, question everything, you know, and, remember the first step to blinding somebody is getting them to open their eyes. Okay. And the first step to seeing beyond the programming is to realize how you've been programmed. I mean, this may be my last time talking to you guys. I mean, and I want to warn you guys, we'll be, hopefully be here tomorrow. Right. Obviously we should engage with all of our meetings as if it's a last meeting that we're having. I mean, but yeah, let me read a section right here. Okay. From Why the Future Doesn't Need Us, if I could, right? And I think you guys will, okay, be interested to hear, right? It says, first, let us postulate that computer scientists succeed in developing intelligent machines that can do all things better than human beings can do them. In that case, presumably all work will be done by vast, highly organized systems of machines. No human effort will be necessary. Either two cases might occur. The machines might be permitted to make all of their own decisions without human oversight, or else human control over the machines might be retained. If the machines are permitted to make all their own decisions, we can't make any conjecture as to the results because it is impossible to guess how such machines might behave. We only point out that the fate of the human world would be at the mercy of the machines. It might be argued that the human race would never be foolish enough to hand over all of the power to the machines. But we are suggesting neither that human race would voluntarily turn power over to the machines, nor that the machines would willfully seize power. What we do suggest is that the human race might easily permit itself to drift into a position of such dependence on the machines that it would have no practical choice but to accept all of the machines' decisions. As society and the problems that face it become more and more complex, and machines become more and more intelligent, people will let machines make more of their decisions for them, simply because machine-made decisions will bring better results than man-made ones. Eventually, a stage may be reached at which decisions necessary to keep the system running will be so complex that human beings will be incapable of making them intelligently. At that stage, the machines will have effective control. People won't be able to just turn the machines off because doing so will amount to self-harm. On the other hand, it is possible that human control over the machines may be retained. In that case, the average man may have control over certain private machines of his own, such as his car or personal computer, but the control over large systems of machines will be in the hands of a tiny elite, just as it is today, but with two differences. Due to improved techniques, the elite will have a greater control over the machines and over the masses. Okay, and because of the human work that will no longer be necessary, the masses will be superfluous, as useless. Okay, a useless burden on the system, excuse me. If the elite is ruthless, they may simply decide to exterminate the mass of humanity. If they are humane, they may use propaganda and other psychological or biological techniques to reduce the birth rate until the mass of humanity becomes extinct, leaving the world to the elite. And if the elite consist of soft-hearted liberals, they may decide to play the role of good shepherds to the rest of the human race. They will see to it that everyone's physical needs are satisfied, that all children are raised under psychologically hygienic conditions, that everyone has a wholesome hobby to keep him busy, that anyone who may become dissatisfied undergoes quote-unquote treatment to rule his quote-unquote problem. Of course, life will be so purposeless that people will have to be biologically and psychologically engineered. either to remove their need for the power process or to sublimate their drive for power into some harmless hobby. These engineer human beings may be happy to in such a society, but they will most likely not be free. They'll have reduced to the state of domestic animals. Okay. Now, let me read to you something I wrote the other day for our friends on the internet, if I could find it. Okay. Something of which we formulated a good discussion. Okay. And I'm kind of using it as a mission statement. Okay. And it's going to be that human beings have lost control of the machines. Right? How the machines are being used to deceive the great mass of humanity. For this reason, right, we're going to spend 2 hours tomorrow talking about Jacques Ellul, right? Because he explains how the system can become autonomous, right? Most people are still under the delusion that we control the machines, that technology is basically good. Once we free them from this delusion, we can begin to enlist their support to overthrow the rule of the machines. Blessings to all the people that are here. Okay, we'll bring you more tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. I know that's a very steep time. Okay, but we've gotten lots of support from the other channels. Okay, this is the other channel, Cyber Caliphate. Right, go check out my show Made by Machine Bob. Okay, where I critiqued a debate on Zionism. We'll have more about that soon. On Zionism, theological and political roots, right? And the roots of the technological society. Okay. So blessings to all the people that are here. And yeah. Here is some music for you guys. Blessings.
Speed chapter 2. Conscious of sin.
Videos on what we may call the
Yo, dragging dusty daggers across your chest, you mark for death. The machine of conquest, every tongue shall confess. Divided with violent tendencies, the tortured author. Flying saucer transformer, bearer of disorder. In my paranormal form that day, I cracked your vertebrae. Careful with the words you say, the coming of doomsday. A passionate and poignant epic voyage, bombs deployed. The schizoid mind you avoid, now destroyed. A gambling man in a place once kept safe. The wailing woman awakes with a gun to embrace. Planes crashing, sword swinging, drunken assassin. Albatross in the tiger shots lock, still thrashing. Smack you whack rappers backwards, desperately depressing me. Flow so heavily, oh now, how you mention the cobra venom weapon therapy. Very enemy, bullets sent to me, strike back out with no discrepancy. The purest energy, hologram was never there. Hidden prophecy soon revealed, stay trapped in my glare. No air in the underground lair where we slumber. Beware of nightmares that float by and drag you under. So bring all your wishes to me and I'll dismiss them one by one. Throw body bags off the cliff after I kiss them, loud bumps. Torn and twisted body lumps in solid mud. Squeezing rats in my palm is how I settle love.
Watching wolves peck at my flesh, the face of the amulet. Haunted woodland, disfigured just like the woodsman. Drag a pickaxe, skin sacks, bones collapse. Facts opposites attract. Bridge snap, ribs crack. In the shadows we fade to black. Perpetrate, imitate, initiate, lock on, detonate, eliminate. Zombie pharaoh, tarot bathing in flaming arrows. On the brink of the everlasting, time is passing, pain it remains the same. Barely tamed the hand that came out the drain. For a friend I wouldn't warn you again. Sword on bend, the beast that came out my pen. Purple sunset doom like a blood red moon. Secret room, you will find me inside the tomb. Gas chamber maker, barren landscape, mind state navigator. Storm activator, I was spawned from a dark nature. overrun with the thoughts of madmen. Who would have them? Past the priest that dragged them. You're abandoned, tongue kiss a loaded magnum. Seek and destroy the target, is never random. Close the fly trap, perched on the point of a nice cap. Time lapse, bunker buster cluster. In the suitcase, body of a dead butler. Feather duster, you've heard of the mad long ghost. Bracken dance, straight out the ground we rose. Tested stricken, art of the beast mimic. This the earth style, 4-pillar wood prison.
It's doomsday. It's doomsday. It's doomsday. It's doomsday. It's doomsday. 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 Doomsday.
Shaheen, isometric concepts, pain, yeah. The ghost of Big L paid me a visit last night. I brought the pain with me and my eye turned white. We can handle this shit like some rappers on the mic or gunfight, whichever you like, doesn't make me a difference. You dealing with a nigga really in the trenches. I kill a king, fuck the queen and kidnap the princess. Take all of his riches, the Fortune 500, then feed the unfortunate. It's Robin Hood, the second coming of it. I'm coming with wisdom but no women. I deal with logic over feelings. Every little step I take, the 38's by my side like a reeling. Niggas want beef, I bake, fry, and grill it. It's SI in Philly. Shaheen, I'm so codeine. They tryna pill me in my cold deep pain. I'm from a different generation with a different obligation. In a sticky situation, I'ma come out gun blazing. Like the invasion of the bald heads and army fatigues and Gore-Tex. Ready for battle like Cortez, more or less. This is Furious Anger 2021. We troublesome.
Honey squeeze first, hitman for hire, snipe your weak verse. This that elite work, it's rapid fire when my heat bursts. From where they eat perks, success of blood, I got a deep thirst. I take your face off the block and put it on a t-shirt. My bars breed hurt, smoke whoever on God's green earth. I'm 10 toes down since sweet birth, I'm born feet first. Do your research, Pelly, break beats, rip your crown from you and fly your head. I'm the same beast, different animal. Lyrically, I'm what they reaching to be. Your favorite lyricist just decent to me. Loving leisure, hungry, eager, bust and leave you like these demons I'm free. There's nothing sweeter, fuck a feature, watch me eat them for free. Perils and pitfalls, ghetto with big balls, never been bits off. I play on foes, they pray I get arrested and shipped off. Cynical, sick thoughts, Pella's a big boss, letting his fifth talk, then plead the fifth. I'm questioned by tipped off, detectives they been called. Cigar lit, Chianti, I pause in my cup and sip. Got a list of guys that gon' kick the bucket, I calls that my bucket list. I'm a king, when I walks in the room, you hear trumpets hit. Disrespect gives him death, that's appropriate punishment. Oh yeah, throw your gun you quick, cause he more live. Hit you with 50, I ain't talking about no 3.5. Medical strains, Pelly's amazed. These punchlines got dead legendary rappers nodding their heads in their graves.
Dog walk, I'm homies pull up shooting. We all blogging, load the sig. Holes so big, look like the wall talking. Tall carving, AR-15 stupid, I'm ball rogging. Fuck the wave, can't make a splash. That's a small dolphin, trouble what? Dog smell the blood, I lift the muzzle up like fuck a tussle. Bet this Russian muscle, flip a shuttle bus. Water rush, pull it back to back, you can't rebuttal much. Hook and jab and whooping so much ass, I get the bubble guts. Sudden death, bullets still hot, them bitches oven fresh. The pistol big, the shit stick to your ribs like a southern chef above the rest. Sink a nigga boat, the metal flood your vest. Quick adapter, let you pick the rapper that get gutted next. Leatherface, hunt the rapper down, it ain't no better chase. Hands up, body on the ground, look like the letter H. Set a date, kill your top 10 and never hesitate. They featherweights, the newest rock him, don't even speculate. Detonate the bomb, defecate on your song. From Section 8 with my mom to every shade of a Tom. Celebrating with dawns, I'm in better shape than LeBron. I've been meditating, I'm calm. Once I levitate, then I'm gone.
so sinister. He could run up on a minister. Sixth sense, sinister, stricken. It was written. Smash the sickness and sentence. You can be the victim. Smart chop off your brain with the vertical stem. Bend his spine so he can't bend. The striking sickness is sin. They trying to brawl. Hibernated off alcohol. Raging mad with a murder talk. You act foul, I'ma break you off. Small fractions of blood subtracted by the razors on the mattress. Sucking body secretions and feed it to the demons. After resembles you looking like a prune. Like the 7 movie. Brad Pitt voice boxes in the room. Synchronicities resonate, mystical mysteries, recidiries, we building a legacy. Persistence and patience when the president represents a slave coupon. I hate this.
Neo-Nazis nosedive in fallen spaceships. The corrupt governments filled with raving racists. What's gonna happen for us to change this? Mental bars that we cast right off the slave ship. Like Atlantic, it's crossed like ancient natives. Columbus was a place where we're not related. Witchcraft on Ceylon's lot where they burn on hatred. You call it sacred, we call it the Matrix.
My tongue left scars on my lungs, past littered with forbidden thoughts and strangers left hung. Through the scientists' precise research, spirits are revoked. Troops deserted in the desert, now swing from the rope. Swaying to and fro, swinging back and forth. Proper froth overflows my antique white piece. Misplaced the Nokia magic, under tragic memory loss. Bloody right fist, emerald tablet held aloft. Possessed by extraterrestrial entities that enter me, commanding high flows of intense density. Solid technology flows through the air. Beware, explore shadow laws and anomalies in astrology. I'm stuck in mythology, hollow door, this swallows me. Sinister image, you know, folk tales, exhaling gales, hideous pale face. Destroy the hybrid race, escape into space, await my fate. I'm from a place where dark physicists make plate tectonic shifts. Devils dancing in the mist inside my subconsciousness. Wandering holy man, dirty, unkept perfection. Try by ordeal, we kill left with no recollection. Escape from Bedlam when the spaceship touched down behind my cerebellum. Extract confession till death will we tell them. Twisted misfit, mad scientist, catatonic, overwhelmed by the smell, unwell, diabolics. Unspoken words collapse, black holes when shaken. I died at Tyburn with the visage of Satan. All that was took will now be taken. Physical manifestation, drift suspended in ages twilight before the star's creation.
The fort was fighting between all Bedouin. Now we stop because they have everything. Why they fight? Everyone, he like more and more and more. But in Bedouin we see something, you know. The one he like more and more and more, there's a lot of sand. He can fill his eyes after he never say what more.
roll the dice and I walk like a 40 dudes. He would play the corner with a mic when I talk.
The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph.
Gutted the glory, another young hustler story. Learn from the mistakes of my uncles that done it before me. Blitz out with razors, death horror, leave children crying. Skits out like slayers, felt form, see cushion ride. Young shooters bring a pistol full, caught up in their crucifixion rituals while worshiping Lucifer habitual. The streets raised me, I'm from Brooklyn like Jordan and Jay-Z. To be where I'm from is a great thing. While you daydream, I make things happen, get things clapping, break things laughing. 18, I stopped taking acid, but it left a stain on my brain that remained massive. Doors of perception open till they lay me in the casket, until I stopped making murder raps. Because the Bible was written by those who were convinced the earth is flat, and I'll be dead before this war stops. Praying at the altar of the war gods, the war rocks.
The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph. The conviction of my tape is rape wicked like Nixon. Blonde heads inscriptions with 3 6s and kiss the pyramid experiment with high explosive. I slap box with Jesus, lick shots and Joseph.
Yes, give thanks and praises to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Elexibeli Romaskon, Lamlak Mingos, Ngusa, Karamana, Wadana, Suasila, Ilmaskan, Wadashalo, Wadada Suasila. Fikiramis, Jerusalem, Ilalam, Aslam, Jehovah Alam, slash I love I.
From the vagina monologues, facial acne scar and orthopedic headgear. Let your battery charger think you need a rest here, or give a candy bar to the engineers, or your vocals come out in the final mix. Final skip at your performance, but it just ride a brainwave, and you're failing to exist. You can't hide in the main stage. You put you on the manly list. So what are you doing here? You're a girl with breast reduction, acting like she said something.
Only a few sound true. Me and the crew know who. This isn't singular, it's plural.
You ain't really real, I can tell when I look at you.
Only a few sound true. Me and the crew know who. This isn't singular, it's plural.
Me and the crew know who.
Sun got sun shines over all of y'all. There's more than Black Hawks down in Somalia. Military skill, visionary. The number of dead served MCs will vary. Different sizes, forms, and shapes. If they're not surprised to be informed by a tape, they're not knowing that hip-hop's growing into the next boxing. To max toxins, glistening to the missiles of the sound, whistling and listening the system of a down. Armenians are horrible, the medium, Minotaur and centaurs. I'm not needing them. Stare down the gun with one wins. Now that I roll with confidence, I'm convinced. Ow! It's my turn to be a star. Fuck with me, I'll burn the flag on your core.
Without boost, and I show good signs to be verbally active. There's something about records and titles, and I'm breaking and snatching. Your help is like a better wife choking on a knuckle sandwich. I got niggas so scared they won't say my name in sign language.